There's one piece of my childhood that I don't really get to live out as much anymore, but I definitely enjoyed it while it lasted, and that was playing video games. Sure, I still play them here and there, but nowhere near as much as I used to when I was younger. And today on Neil Today, we're gonna be talking about 5 quick lessons that I've learned from playing video games. And on this podcast, we talk about like principles and thoughts and stories and interview entrepreneurs and life coaches about their businesses, their lives, and how they've been able to build them up and also take care of themselves and others as they were doing it. If that's interesting to you, definitely follow the podcast because it's only going to get better from here, my friends. That is for sure. So, the first thing I wanted to talk about was this concept of no game overs. There's this level in Donkey Kong Land 2 on the Game Boy that was so hard, and I died so many times, and I think I was stuck on that level for like a year and a half at least. And I tried off and on. I'd always get a game over. I'd always get close. You know, you do these little patterns, and the game. A lot of the best games, they kind of help you know what you need to do, and you do it. And sometimes you fall short because you need to develop the skills. You got to get good. You know. And then I remember still the day when I beat it. I was like, what? I was so excited. And the funny thing was, since it's a classic game, you can't save right after you beat a level. So I had to find a save point. And I was so interested in finding a save point at that point. And in that game, you also had to buy, you had to like use money to save, which is also crazy. But that, I think of that experience and another experience of a similar game pretty often when it comes to life lessons I've learned from video games because it wasn't too late. I could try again and again and again. And I've seen this in life. I mean, I failed a class. I failed accounting back in the winter by 5 points, and that was super rough because I really tried, you know. But we can try again. I'm trying again here in the fall. So, you know, even if you get a game over in life at different things, you can always use everything you learned to try again. And I think that's so amazing and powerful. And that's really where I think breakdowns can inspire breakthroughs is like when an athlete breaks an ankle, like when an athlete breaks something, you know, they can use everything they learn from that injury to get their next victory, and that's super cool to me. Number two is that kindness pays. A lot of times in life, if you just will be kind to other people, actually every time in life, if you'll just be kind to other people, you'll feel better about yourself and you'll also be able to help out other people. I've seen it all the time where people I was just kind to later reach out to me and help out or buy me ice cream or just do things. And I don't do it to get those things, of course, but it's just really nice. You just be a nice person, you're reliable and helpful, and it comes back. And you see that in video games as well, mostly like RPG role playing games. You know, give something to a character, you give them a piece of pie or something, like, this is my favorite pie, and they give you the super overpowered item, and you're like, wow, that's really cool. And the same thing goes with life too. If you provide a great experience for somebody, like for me having somebody on my podcast or something, it leads to better things down the road. It leads to, you know, good stuff. It only leads to good stuff. Number three is this need to Number three is this super powerful concept that we live and we learn on our journeys. I remember playing this one game called Custom Robo, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but you learn a lot about your character and you get to see like his life unfold a little bit, and you're just like, you by the end of the game, you're just mind blown, like, wow, this is a really cool character that I've been playing as, and you learn more about yourself as you play through the game, your talents, your abilities, your weaknesses. And the same thing goes with life too. The longer you live life, the more you learn about yourself. There's potential to learn all kinds of stuff about yourself, what you love about yourself, and all that stuff. I've definitely, especially lately, with being stuck at home, and it's my first time doing a podcast episode in a bit, so hopefully my voice sounds okay. I think it sounds pretty good. It was pretty froggy for a pretty good amount of time. It was rough, but yeah, I think that's really cool. Is like you can get experience. I mean, in Pokemon, you can get new moves. I mean, it's just super sick, and there's so much ability to there's so much opportunity to create and to level up in life and to learn about life and to develop these skills and these things that you used to be really weak at, you can work on that. And for me, like my communication level was, not too great, but I've worked on it so much. I was watching some old videos of mine from the old video game YouTube channel days, and honestly, they weren't like super pretty, but I was like, look at him trying. Look at that. Like he's trying. It was a beautiful moment. It was honestly a beautiful moment. I was just like, way to go, man. Because now I'm pretty articulate. I've gotten pretty good. I've talked with tons and tons of people. But this is not where I started. This is not where I'll finish either. So number 3 is the ability to live and to learn along your journey. Because you'll learn more along the way. Number 4 is celebrating little wins. Video games, apps, everything, they all do such a stinking good job at this. They're like, oh, look, you got a new follower. Oh, look, this person liked your post. Oh, look, Johnny tagged a photo of you or something. It gets really ridiculous, but they send all these dopamine spikes to your brain, all these little notifications and stuff, and it's maddening, honestly, sometimes. Usually it's not that helpful. I think they've gotten less and less helpful, which is interesting. I guess it depends on the app we're talking about. But you see this in video games all the time. You'll beat a level and your character will do a little dance. You'll get a power up and your character will grow. And there's all this predictability. So you learn, like, if I do this, this happens. There's instant feedback. And that's one of the most difficult things about life, honestly, is you don't get instant feedback on a lot of stuff, right? If you eat really well today and for the next week, you'll feel better about yourself, but you won't see the big gains until, like, when you're exercising and all that jazz and you do it consistently for a couple months. Same thing with a podcast. It takes time for it to grow, for it to develop and everything. And another thing, I guess, was celebrating little wins too. It's like you have this like world map, and so you really get a good idea of where you're at, and so you can appreciate this very slow progression. I've been playing this game recently with my roommate that I've been wanting to play for a long time. It's like a hack of a Mario game called Newer Super Mario Bros. And we've just been playing a couple levels here and there, and you can see like how far we have to go and everything, and it really helps. I've wanted to do that, like create a world map for the thing I want to learn and just follow that instead of making like a checklist or something, because that's just so boring. It's uninspiring most of the time. So number 4 is celebrating little wins. And number 5 is skills proven through boss battles. Lately, I've seen how in my life I get tested a lot of different ways. And these are to show myself how I will respond when this happens. Like this morning, I woke up and it was like 6, and I was like, I'm going to go back to sleep. It's Saturday. But then I just silenced that thought and I got up. I didn't think. And so getting up in the morning is kind of like a boss battle. For some people, we lose to it consistently. And really, one really good way is just don't listen to the thought, just get up. Because your brain will thank you later. You'll be able to sleep better at night. But boss battles are interesting because they're spaced out a specific way and usually a specific, level or distance. You battle the boss, you get experience, your experience is tested, and it's just really neat because, like, one of my favorite video game series is the Mario Luigi RPG series, and some of the boss battles are pretty long, but you always get some super good stuff, and you feel satisfied when you beat the boss. And sometimes in life it's the same thing. We beat the boss and you're not really satisfied. So it's really important to have those like markers and to celebrate those. Like when you finish a new semester, you celebrate it. Kind of going back to celebrate little things. But you beat a boss, you learn from this, you grew from it, and you can move forward. But the bosses, they can be really difficult. They can be super hard. There's been a couple bosses in video games and honestly in life too that are really difficult to face. They're like David versus Goliath. But if you come prepared, if you are learning all the time, eventually you're going to take it down. And at the very least, you'll be able to handle it. You'll be able to survive in the arena, and maybe somebody else will take out the boss for you. And that's a whole other aspect. Is a lot of my favorite video game memories are with multiplayer games, where even if you die, you have a teammate to help you out. And that's another beautiful concept I've seen. I guess a little bit of a bonus tip is like the importance of having friends and reaching out to people, because, you know, people like helping out other people, especially when they've been helped. So it helps a lot to create those bonds early, because they will help you out a lot. And in those trials, in those difficult times, those boss battles, you grow so much stronger with those people you care about. And I've seen that in video games. I've definitely seen that in life as well, in so many different ways. So with that all said, this was our 5 quick lessons I've learned from video games. One is no game overs. Two is that kindness always pays off. Live and learn from the journey along the way, celebrating little wins and making the most of boss battles, learning from them and how they prove your abilities and stuff. So, I really enjoyed this episode. I like talking about this kind of thing. I'm really excited to say that we've been getting a lot of interview requests and stuff, so we're going to be getting a lot of interviews on deck. I'm feeling a lot better. Last week or so, I've been decently sick, so yeah, that's pretty much it though. Thank you so much for the support. I'm glad you enjoyed the superhero part 1. I'll definitely make a part 2. I got a couple people who responded to me about that, so shout out to Ali and Caden. Caden. And Keegan for reaching out. I appreciate it and glad you guys enjoyed the episode. And with that all said, thank you so much for listening, and don't forget to yield today, and it'll be a better tomorrow. So I'd encourage you, like, I don't know, next time you play a video game, think about all the different lessons from life you're learning. Or the next time you get on that social media app, think of like how it's engineered and what it's doing and what you're learning from it. And maybe think about those 5 different things and how it can apply. So like if you have a habit of getting on Facebook and you're on too much, it's kind of like a boss battle in a way, and it wears you down, right? If you feel like you've gone a game over and you can't bounce back, you always can. You can learn so much from that. You can take notes. This is one of my favorite things about life. You can always take notes of what went wrong. You can take a couple steps back and be like, okay, well, I sat down at the computer and I was planning to write, and I decided, you know what, I'll check Facebook for 5 minutes, and then there you go. All you need to do is make it easier to not do that next time, and you're golden, and you might find out something else that you need to work on to prevent that from happening. So, yeah. With that all said, thank you so much for listening. I hope this was helpful and beneficial for you. And don't forget to yield today, and it'll be a better tomorrow.